In the shroud of darkness, a tale of despair unfurls, beckoning us into somber depths. Within this bleak landscape resides a young woman, her spirit cloaked in shadows. November 2020 looms like a specter, a time when the boundary between safety and peril fades into obscurity. A relentless obsession, nameless yet suffocating, grips her like a vice, its tendrils creeping insidiously through the night. Innocent messages twist into sinister whispers, foreshadowing the tragedy that lurks just beyond the horizon. And then, on that fateful night, the darkness descends like a shroud, enveloping her in its suffocating embrace. A presence, ominous and unknown, breaches the sanctity of her refuge, unleashing a tempest of violence that shatters the silence of the night. As the night deepens, so too does the weight of sorrow, pulling us deeper into the abyss of despair. For within this harrowing tale lies the stark truth of how obsession can transform into a nightmare, casting its victim adrift in a sea of darkness with no hope of escape. Welcome to Crime Scene Archives. In today's video, we will uncover the chilling story of Celeste Manno, a young woman whose life was tragically cut short by an obsession that turned deadly. But before we proceed, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more captivating content. Warning: this video contains graphic content related to crime scenes. It is intended for educational purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. 5 years ago, Celeste's future brimmed with joy, mirroring her vibrant personality. However, fate took a cruel turn when a man she had briefly worked with became fixated on her. His name was Seiko, and though Celeste never reciprocated his attention, he became increasingly obsessed. For over a year, he stalked her relentlessly, making her life a living nightmare. Then, in November 2020, he crossed a horrific line, breaking into her home and ending the 23-year-old's life. Celeste's tragic tale is one that nobody wishes to recount, yet it demands to be heard. Aggie tomorrow, her grieving mother, carries a tangible piece of Celeste with her always, a golden heart filled with her daughter's ashes. Asked about Celeste, Aggie's words resonate with profound love and loss. "There was nothing not to love about Celeste," she says. "I spent 23 years letting her know how blessed I was." Celeste's boyfriend, Chris Ridsdale, also reflects on her infectious laughter and the promise their budding relationship held. They had just started dating, their time together brimming with joy. When she was smiling, you could see it from a mile away, Chris recalls. The tragedy began to unfold in June 2019, when Seiko was fired from their call center workplace and Celeste escorted him out. Little did she know, this interaction would mark the beginning of a nightmare. Seiko reached out to Celeste on Instagram, and from there, his infatuation spiraled into obsession. Despite Celeste's efforts to block him, Seiko persisted, creating new accounts to continue his harassment. Aggie recalls the distressing sight of her daughter's futile attempts to escape Seiko's grasp. "It was painful to watch Celeste go through it," she says. "The way she stressed over it, lost sleep, felt uncomfortable. That was the hardest part." After 6 months of enduring Seiko's relentless pursuit, Celeste and Aggie turned to the authorities for help. However, their pleas fell on deaf ears. The police brushed off their concerns, advising Celeste to simply ignore him. Despite their efforts to seek protection, Celeste's tragic fate couldn't be averted. Despite Celeste's repeated attempts to fend off Seiko's advances, his relentless stalking only intensified over the following months. His behavior became increasingly invasive, with Celeste and her mother, Aggie, feeling a suffocating sense of dread as Seiko's presence seemed to loom over every aspect of their lives. Seiko's brazen actions extended beyond mere messages. He began to physically follow Celeste, tracking her movements with chilling precision. Aggie vividly recalls the sense of unease that settled over them like a dark cloud, knowing that Seiko's unwelcome gaze was constantly fixed upon her daughter. Their first encounter with law enforcement provided little solace, as their pleas for help were met with indifference. It wasn't until they encountered an officer who took their concerns seriously that a glimmer of hope emerged. With his guidance, they secured an intervention order against Seiko, hoping it would finally put an end to the torment. However, Seiko's defiance knew no bounds. He brazenly breached the order, sending Celeste a manipulative letter pleading for her forgiveness. Aggie's heart sank as she realized the gravity of the situation. Seiko's obsession had reached dangerous new heights. The relief of Seiko's arrest was short-lived, overshadowed by Aggie's ever-growing sense of apprehension. She couldn't shake the feeling that Seiko's vendetta against Celeste was far from over. Tragically, her fears were realized on that fateful November night. The sound of breaking glass shattered the tranquility of their home, signaling Seiko's violent intrusion. Aggie's frantic attempts to reach Celeste in time were futile, her world crumbling around her as she realized the extent of Seiko's depravity. Seiko, armed with a hammer and a large kitchen knife, launched a brutal attack on Celeste as she lay sleeping in her bed. Despite Aggie's desperate pleas and efforts to save her daughter, Celeste succumbed to the relentless assault, her life cut short by Seiko's heinous actions. She was stabbed 23 times, with the fatal blow striking her heart, ultimately causing her death. The aftermath of Celeste's murder left Aggie grappling with a profound sense of loss and guilt, haunted by the realization that she couldn't protect her daughter from the monster lurking in the shadows. Through Aggie's heartbreaking recollections, the true horror of Celeste's ordeal is laid bare, a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked obsession and violence. In the face of unimaginable tragedy, Aggie's unwavering love for her daughter shines through, a beacon of hope in the darkness of grief. When news rippled through the community that Seiko, the perpetrator behind Celeste's murder, had brazenly driven himself to the police station and surrendered, Aggie was stunned. The sheer audacity of such an act left her reeling in disbelief. Who the hell does something like this? Her mind struggling to comprehend the surreal turn of events. To Aggie, it seemed unfathomable that someone could commit such a heinous act, leave the murder weapon behind, and then voluntarily hand themselves over to the authorities. As the shock settled, Aggie's thoughts turned to the implications of Seiko's actions. She couldn't shake the feeling that this was a calculated move, perhaps a ploy to manipulate the legal system. "Mark my words," she grimly remarked to those around her. "He's going to try and get off on mental impairment." It was a chilling realization, one that underscored the complexities and challenges of seeking justice in the aftermath of Celeste's murder. In the wake of her daughter's tragic death, Aggie's grief morphed into a fierce determination to understand the intricacies of the legal system. No longer just a grieving mother, she became a relentless advocate, driven by a singular goal: to ensure that Celeste's death was not in vain. Armed with a newfound understanding of the law surrounding stalking and violence, Aggie delved deep into the legal intricacies, seeking answers, accountability, and ultimately justice for her daughter. But Aggie's journey was not without its challenges. As she navigated the labyrinth of legal proceedings, she encountered roadblocks and setbacks at every turn. The systemic failures that had allowed Seiko's obsession to escalate unchecked only fueled Aggie's resolve to enact change. "Our legislation in so many areas is just wrong," she lamented, her frustration palpable. It was a sentiment echoed by many, a rallying cry for reform within the criminal justice system. Celeste's tragic story became a catalyst for change, galvanizing Aggie and others like her to demand accountability and reform. With unwavering determination, Aggie embarked on a tireless crusade, determined to honor Celeste's memory by effecting real change. "Celeste shouldn't be dead," she declared, her voice trembling with emotion. "I refuse to believe that laws can't change." As Aggie's advocacy gained momentum, her resilience became a beacon of hope for countless others who had been failed by the system. Her unwavering commitment to seeking justice for Celeste and others like her served as a powerful reminder of the enduring power of a mother's love. As the story unfolded, shedding light on the flaws within the justice system, Aggie's tireless efforts continued unabated. Her determination to hold those responsible to account resonated deeply with many, inspiring a wave of solidarity and support. Finally, After years of legal wrangling and emotional turmoil, Seiko was brought to justice. He was found guilty of Celeste's murder and sentenced to a lengthy prison term. For Agi and her family, it was a bittersweet victory, a small measure of closure in the wake of unimaginable tragedy. But even as Seiko was led away to begin serving his sentence, Agi knew that the scars left by Celeste's death would never fully heal. The pain of losing her daughter would linger forever, a constant reminder of the fragility of life and the cruel injustices of the world. As Agi reflected on the journey that had brought her to this point, she found solace in the knowledge that Celeste's memory would live on. Through her tireless advocacy and unwavering determination, Agi had ensured that her daughter's voice would never be silenced. Thanks for tuning in to this captivating episode of Crime Scene Archives. Celeste's story serves as a poignant reminder of the grave consequences of stalking and the importance of seeking help from legitimate organizations. If you or someone you know is experiencing stalking to such great lengths, it's crucial not to ignore it. Reputable organizations such as victim support groups, domestic violence shelters, and legal aid services are available to provide support and guidance. The repercussions can be devastating, and as seen in Celeste's case, even cost a life. Additionally, seeking assistance from law enforcement and reporting the stalking behavior can also be crucial steps in ensuring your safety. Remember, you are not alone, and help is available. Together, let's work towards creating a safer and more vigilant community where every voice is heard and every cry for help is answered. And for those interested in more true crime stories, don't forget to check out the video before this one, which tells the tragic tale of Yana Kashian, a woman whose life was taken by her husband out of spite and anger, with motives somewhat similar to Celeste's murder. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, Crime Scene Archives, for more true crime stories. Stay vigilant and always be safe.